Alright, welcome to another Living Freestyle Game Dev live stream. My name's Kevin. We do this twice a week. Right now we're doing these Sunday nights and Wednesday mornings. And this works kind of like an AMA Q&A about Unreal Engine, game dev, all that kind of stuff. I get to do this professionally. I currently work at Riot Games in R&D. And even though I get to do a lot of cool stuff at work, like I say, often there's a lot of cool things I don't get to do. So this is also a chance for me to learn about a lot of things that I don't get to do at the J job. Now, in the absence of any questions, which happens quite frequently, I basically fill the time by streaming me trying to make my own working prototype for my game. And you might be wondering what happened to Sunday's stream. Well, because I'm a professional and managed to forget to turn the stream off. It basically streamed, after the stream, it streamed like 21 hours of just blackness before I realized what was happening. And I couldn't edit the video or change it or anything like that. So I ended up just deleting it. So what did we, if you're looking for Sunday's stuff, what did you miss? We were getting back into AI, trying to figure out what was going on, but mostly we were dealing with performance stuff. And so I was showing little bits of pieces of how to do some profiling. We're going to do that a little bit more seriously today because I'm kind of irked by some of the speed at which that our game is currently running at, and I feel like we just need to do a couple of sanity checks. So what's happening? I was thinking for prototype, I wasn't going to worry about performance too much because it's just get it done, make it work, make it look good. Well, the problem is part of the game that I want to make requires a bunch of enemies, and if I get 16 enemies on the screen, our tick is dropping so much that we can't actually even move. And so part of it is it my machine? Because I do have a little bit of a dinosaur of a machine at this point. Not as slow as some, but slower than a lot. And so part of it could be the machine, but part of it is I just want to do a sanity check. How much of it is because we're using Lyra and some of the complicated ways that the blueprints are being set up and stuff like that. Now I know that sounds crazy because theoretically or fundamentally this should be the same way that a lot of the stuff is done with Fortnite, and obviously they have tons of people in the lobbies and stuff like that. But they have an 8K texture for a smoke grenade as part of the Lyra demo. There's no way, that just doesn't work. So I don't know what kind of stuff is being done there. So well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do three quick profiling things in our current project. I'm gonna show you how, just to check some things as a sanity check. Then I wanna take a look at our old project that we were doing just kind of on our own. And then I want to take a look at a project that I downloaded from the marketplace with animation, for an animation system. Why those three things? Well, one, I need to look at what we have right now. Two, what we had before would just be a sanity check of going forward. And then the marketplace one has to do with animation blueprints. I'm curious if the ALS animation blueprint ticks faster than the current Lyra blueprint, and what it is we need to do to check that. So let's go ahead and double check our chats. It looks like we're clear on the chats this morning. It also looks like we have our project up. So let's make sure that we switch over to screen left. Okay, cool. So this is the ALS project. It's actually a really cool setup of animation blueprinting and stuff like that. There's a lot of really cool features in it. That was what I was originally leveraging for a bunch of the animation stuff. Now, then of course, we have our project, which has some session errors in it. It looks like Perforce is not connected, so let's just do that real quick. And trying to remember the password because I was up entirely too late watching Andor last night, the season finale. Okay, cool. So this is our project. This is the ALS project, and then this is 45% compiling shaders. Oh, this was on our old project. I wonder how much that is going to affect our performance. Let's just see. Well, at least I can do a couple quick intros to some of the profiling tools we're going to be using. It won't matter what the numbers are yet. Okay, so let's play our game. So there's a bunch of different things that are available through the command. I guess the command line menu once you start your game. All right, and so to get to that, if you press the asterisk key, what will happen is this command line will come up, and you can find these. A lot of this stuff is documented pretty well in Unreal Engine docs and things like that. But if we just do stat, a couple common ones, stat FPS, that's going to show me my frame rate, which right now is pretty low even compared to whatever. I think it's because I have that other engine. So you can see that in the top right. FPS is not as totally useful. I mean, it's a great little indicator, but I'm kind of more interested in the milliseconds. Why? Because somebody told me I should be more interested in how many milliseconds it takes for us to complete stuff. So if we do a stat on here, one of the ones that you can take a look at when you're profiling, there's generally two big things that you're looking at. As you're playing your game, your CPU is doing a bunch of work, and then your GPU, which is your graphics card, does a bunch of work, and your CPU does a whole bunch of calculations to figure out, you know, where things are, what things are thinking, and stuff like that, and then your GPU will draw them. And generally speaking, now there are things that you can offload between the two and stuff depending on how you're set up, but those are the two general things that make a game playable: your CPU and your GPU. So your central processor and your graphics card. So if you take a look at those can be profiled separately. So if we do stat game, this is going to show us mostly our GPU stuff. And it comes up as a nice little chart. Now, what you'll notice here is it's kind of like, you know, it kind of breaks it down to an average and everything like that. And you can kind of see that it breaks down each of the categories. And you can kind of see here, our world tick time right now is 20 milliseconds. That is just a little above 30 frames per second. Our tick time is almost 20. Like, there's just no way. Just as an example, I think if you want to hit 120, you have to be below 8. I'm pretty sure. And that's client side. I know some of the tactical shooter games are even faster than that because they need to be. So these tick times are pretty high. Blueprint times, not so bad. Q ticks, blueprint latent actions, etc., etc. I don't see. Now, included in that tick time is the evaluation of our animation blueprint, and I can show you how I know that in a little bit. But to get that to come up, once again, it was the backtick key, and we typed stat game. If I type stat game again, it goes away. So if I do a backtick again, stat GPU, this will show me what our draw times are. Now, originally, this is where I found out, and this is kind of what we were going over in the video on Sunday. This is where I found out about my shadow depths being a problem. And so I basically was like, I'm not gonna fight it right now. I'm just gonna turn down all my shadow depths. And you can see our GPU time is pretty good once we got rid of all that. Scene update's good. We're less than 10. Not too bad. And now to do that, we greatly reduced, for example, like I said, our shadow depths. And there's probably more work that we can do here. Who knows how big the textures are that we're using for different things. But that's how you do a stat GPU. All right, now I want to do this. There's two interesting things. I want to know what the world is doing without any enemies in it. So I'm going to quickly get rid of all of our enemies. Right now we have a whole lot of enemies, so let's just get rid of them. Okay, our frame rate right now, without any enemies, is over 70. It's not half bad. It's not half bad. If we take a look at our game, actually, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. 3 milliseconds for a world tick. This is better than some of the other prototypes I've seen. That's not as bad as I thought, and this computer is not as good. Okay. Okay, let's add one enemy. So right now we're looking at roughly three-ish for both, for a tick. That's pretty good. I'm actually pleasantly surprised by that. You know what we need to do? We need to implement the ability to spawn an enemy at our mouse pointer. Okay, well, maybe we should try to figure that out. Okay, so let's spawn one enemy here and rerun that same performance test. Okay. If you just press the up arrow, it will, just like a lot of Linux-based OSs and stuff, it'll recycle the last command. Look at that. One, is there really an enemy in here? There is. There's no way their BP is connected. No, it's not. It can't be. There's no way. All right, so, but with an enemy with limited animation, dude, our tick time didn't change that much. Our tick time is still pretty dang good. Okay, so let's do this. Let's reconnect the blueprint. I think you need to share a little bit your screen. Okay, am I not doing that? Oh, did I mess up again? Oh my goodness, I messed up. You are a lifesaver. Thank you so much, Duong HD. Every now and then I forget to actually flip over to the screen. And I've done entire streams where I never share the screen. So you just saved me a whole lot of headache. So let's just repeat. Most of the beginning was talking, but let's just repeat what I was just doing. All right, so just as a quick, to recapture it for the stream. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. All right, okay, so basically what we're talking about is, I was showing you the hotkeys and stuff like that to bring up the profilers, two of the quick ones. So if we start our game, when we press play and we press the back tick key, if I press stat, this right now, if I just type in stat game, what that's gonna do is that's gonna show basically the more of the CPU side of things, okay? And as you can see here from this screen now, thanks to Duong HD, relax everybody, I'm a professional. So anyways, this shows us all of our tick times. And as I was saying before, you couldn't see it, you know, we're right now at the top. You can see by the little red bars, that's our highest usage. And those values are down in the low 3s, high 2s, which is honestly a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. And you can kind of see some of the stuff that's broken up there. All right, and if we once again press the back tick, the one that's just below the escape key, usually on most keyboards. If we do stat game, that gets rid of our CPU stats. If we do stat GPU, that will bring up our GPU stats. And here it's showing a lot of stuff, and before our shadow depths were up at 20. And so just by removing the ability for objects to cast shadows and getting rid of and dialing back the shadows on the player or on all characters, I was able to get that down. Now, do I want shadows in my game eventually? Yes, absolutely. But for prototype, I don't care. It's just whatever we can do to get this stuff done. to get to a working prototype as fast as possible. So to get this to go away, again, back tick, that's the button underneath the escape key, stat GPU, and then finally you can see the little FPS counter up at the top. It's in this top right area. If I do stat FPS, and a lot of times I'll just leave that on because it's just a good indicator. Now, there's also something worth mentioning. So we've got stat GPU, stats game, and stat FPS. I'm doing all of this with the editor open. A lot of times, if you want to profile, you actually need to do it standalone because the editor itself, all of the UI calls and everything, and I think you'll even see it in some of the stuff, will take a lot of time. So you're not necessarily getting an accurate reading. But for what I'm trying to achieve here, just to get this stuff as low as possible, this is totally fine. I am not running super performance stuff because I'm trying to go to launch type thing. So, all right, so we've done 3 of them: stat game, stat GPU, and stat FPS. Now let's talk about the big one. The big one uses the profile and it writes all of your stuff to disk. Actually, before we do that, let's redo our enemy test. Okay, which is what we were doing before I realized I wasn't streaming my screen. All right, so my guess is this is disconnected. It is disconnected. So remember we were at 3, okay? And if we play now, do we have an enemy in here? We do not. We need an enemy. So let's spawn one enemy. Make sure there is only one. And see how much of a hit we take just by connecting our ability, or not our ability tree, our behavior tree. So many trees. The reason being is I am actually kind of worried about the way we're building our behavior tree because seems like we're doing a lot in there. Okay, we're still at 60 frames a second. What's our tick time on the game thread? Still 3. Do we actually have an enemy in here though? We do? Oh wait, okay, they just showed up on screen and it dropped. But it didn't drop that much. Interesting. It dropped... It could have, yeah, but see, okay, so this is where profiling gets fuzzy. It might have dropped because they're actually shooting. Okay, it might, because like right now, as he's just moving around and meleeing, it's still showing our tick times are at 3, almost 3, and we're bumping up to 60 sometimes. Okay, and there's nothing that this should affect in the GPU. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so this looks pretty good. So actually with one enemy, it's not so bad. All right, so let's do this same test now with 10 enemies. And we'll start to see what happens with the performance. So if we do 4 at this spawn point, 4 at this spawn point, and 2 at this one, this will be 10 enemies. Nice round number. Our frame rate has already dropped, and that could be because they're still spawning in. All those VFX are playing, even though they're not visible. All right, but we have dropped our frame rate. You can see we're in the mid 40 range. They should all be spawned now, and if we zoom to go check and see, they are. So they're all sitting here. They're doing their formations, looking around and doing stuff. They're actually coming to get me now. All right, so if we do a stat game now, okay, so with 10 enemies, we bumped up to 10 milliseconds a frame. It's starting to add up. Makes sense, we've added more. But overall, our baseline's not so bad. Not so bad. Okay, so let's do this. Now that we've seen what our game does, let's compare that to a couple of other things. So as I mentioned, wow, this other one is still compiling shaders. All right, so as I mentioned, we're going to take a look at, oh wait, where'd that go? All right, here we go. We're gonna take a look at what it is in here. So in this particular game, wait a minute. Well, we can just check our base here. So let's do stat. Stat game here is probably the one I'm interested in most. World, dude, look at that. World tick time of 1.8. That is definitely faster. Why is that so much faster? I think I even hear birds chirping. Oh yeah, they even got background noises and stuff. Okay. Interesting. Demo level. Demo level. Okay. This is the one I was looking for. Let's bring back our music. If we play this one. No, this isn't the one I'm looking for. Did I open the wrong project? I may have opened the wrong project. Still, this tick time is way better than ours. And this is on Unreal. I wonder if this is the difference between Unreal. I mean, this is a problem. This could also be the difference between Unreal 4 and 5. There just may be more going on. You're full stack web dev? You can do game dev too. Absolutely. In fact, all of your web dev experience would be amazing for, when you say full stack, do you mean on the programming side, or you mean on the design side, or what do you mean? Okay, so let's see here. What was I looking for? Oh, I was looking for other projects. And this one is still compiling shaders. So let's bring up our Epic Unreal Engine store again. Library. Here it is. I opened the wrong one. Can you believe that? All right, we want ALS v4. Why is it opening in Unreal Engine 5? Okay. All right, so that's launching. While that's launching, hopefully, hopefully we can get going. Okay, cool. Yeah, literally, if you're, I mean, if you're into game dev, it's actually, I gotta say, it's a lot of fun. I used to do a lot of, you know, I did database engineering, I did web design, I did web development, I did some old school C++ stuff. Of all the things, there's something about the visual arts that's super satisfying. And web dev to a certain extent has that as well, but like, there's something about making a movie, a film, or a video game that at the end of the day when you're done and you get to see the thing that you worked on be playable or watchable, and people get excited about it, that's actually kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. I used to do huge databases for banks and stuff like that, and you know, at the end of the day, when I finished my work, it was like, yoo-hoo, the check cleared. And you know, don't get me wrong, it was cool work sometimes, and something a whole lot cooler when somebody play your game or watch the movie or film you made or whatever. But all of your, so like if I can go from web development, I'm sure you could too. Let's see here. That's for compiling shaders on Horde Wars. So our game is coming along, and the new ALS is coming along. Okay, so while we're waiting, hop back in here. Wonder if you know what we could do? While we're waiting for that, we could probably set up a hotkey to spawn an enemy within a radius. Could we do that? I don't know that I want to click it on. Yeah, let's do that. Let's see if we can do that real quick. Alright, so we need a hotkey. We have to remember where they are. So if we take a look at our shooter mannequin, do we have any hotkey stuff in here? This is our tick for jump. That's interesting. We may want to... We don't need to do this if it's not an AI. Okay, we're not. Interesting. Alright, health changed. Set emote audios. Shield change. Death. Begin play. Possession, etc. Okay. So that's not where it is. So it's probably in the game mode. Oh no, player controller. Player controller. Interesting. Keyboard. I think it's keyboard bindings, it's called. Common input keyboard mouse. Here we go. Default keyboard mouse. Okay, we got all of our moves or crouches, etc. And we have shooter game keyboard mouse. This is probably more what we're looking on. Have a great day, Duong. And again, thank you so much for pointing out that I wasn't streaming the screen. You have an awesome day and a great week. Okay, all right, so here we go. We have our inventory toggles, all of our melees and quick shots. This is fine. If we shift click the mappings, it'll collapse them down for us. And thank you for following me, Duong, as well. Scoreboards, grenades, emotes, quick slots. So it looks like, oh, here we go. This is our toggle debug. That's our P key. A lot of buffering. Let's see here. Is my work machine on? It is. I wonder if it's grabbing something. Hold on a second, let me see. Thank you for the heads up, Flippy. All right, let's see. Yeah, it does say that I'm a little bit low on the keyframe interval. I wonder if it's because I've launched 3 Unreals. Let's see what we can close down to help with that. If I minimize this, dismiss this, get rid of all this. We're exiting VR. Let's check our... We're having fun with the stream this morning, huh? Do this. We can exit one of our things. Shooter game, keyboard, and mouse. We'll come back to that in a second. Don't save that. That doesn't seem